Welcome back to Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. It is good to be back. Quick housekeeping reminder, make sure to download these episodes and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or your preferred platform. If you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button at Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast, -J3X. It helps other dog fans find our content. You can also support us financially on Patreon at Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. Nothing is behind a paywall, but if you would like to support the work we do, you can just subscribe for just $5 a month. Let's talk Husky football. Oh my God, we're back again. The last time we spoke, we weren't sure if we had a quarterback, and mere days later, our quarterback had a change of heart and perhaps an increased awareness of the U.S. court system. And just like that, we are back to talk about the 2026 chapter of football at the University of Washington. To quote the great Michael Scott, there's no doubt about it. I'm ready to be hurt again.
Let's go.
I'm joined by the whole crew tonight. I've got Boomer Sooner, Jake Grant.
Yeah.
Hey, our
Yeah.
super dude and fearless leader, Trevor Mueller.
Hey.
And it says from my notes, Dan Wilson's super fan, Coach V. What's good, Purple Gang?
Hey, we're back. Hey, Trev, as the greatest linguistic of all time said, guess who's back?
Back
again.
Jakey's back. Tell your friends. Feels good. Yeah, it's funny. We put some stuff out and somebody was like, yeah, you haven't put anything out since Demond, went into the transfer portal. I was like, yeah, that's probably true. And that's mostly my fault. So I'm really glad that we're all back. It's good to finally get back into podcasting mode. It's good to start thinking about Husky football and not, some of the other things that go along with the off season, but we're back. And I'm excited about where the program is. I'm excited about where Jed and his staff not only have this group, but especially setting them up in the recruiting cycle in the 2027 class and beyond. So feeling really good about right now. Obviously for me, positive vibes. We're doing hard.
What about you, Coach?
Yeah, I have spent this entire off season just sort of like picking it apart. Like how do we compete for a Big Ten title? And I think that we're closer than we were last year. I think a lot of things are going to have to break right, but it's just exciting to not have to watch Mariners baseball anymore.
Yeah.
And now that NFL's coming back and college is coming back, obviously, and for goodness sake, let's just get it on. And it's time to get back to the playoffs.
Absolutely. It's been an exciting summer to some regard, and then in the last couple of weeks with Mariner baseball being the only thing that's available to watch for sports, I think we're all itching to talk about something that's a little bit more purple and gold. So we can go ahead and get started right away and talk
What's up
about
with Jake. What you got, Jake? Jake's back. He doesn't get to say anything.
Yeah, what the heck?
Oh, I thought you did. I thought you said hi when you heard about. Fortunately, your feelings regenerate.
So welcome
twice
back to Fourth and Inches with Trevor, Leah, and Coach, and Jake's just here right now.
I'm sorry, Jake. I thought I introduced you and you said hi.
No, it's all good. It's not like my feelings are hurt or anything. I'm just here to do a podcast and talk on a speaker, but I'm just here.
My bad.
In all fairness, this is our second take, so it's all a blur.
We're working it out.
We're all disheveled. Yeah, we are all disheveled. No, honestly, the way that last season ended, you alluded to it with Demond, the whole Demond situation. It kind of soured college football for me for a couple of months. I think Trevor probably felt the same way. I know that we had a lot of conversation about it. And in like the last month or so, my excitement has exponentially raised, and I am ready for college football. Let's go.
I think we're all ready. We're all ready to talk about more things. Move on from last year the way it ended and flip the page, and it's the year 3 of the Jed Fish era. What are we thinking about that? He's had 2 years. He's only lost 2 games at home. He's really struggled on the road. What are we looking for in year 3?
Coach, I think consistency is I think consistency is the thing that Coach Jed needs to do. He needs to work on. You mentioned it. At home, they've been fantastic. They've beaten up some cupcakes. They've lost to really good teams at home. But on the road, they go out and they get absolutely torched by Wisconsin. And they have some really bad losses on the road. Iowa 2 years ago. I'd like to see a lot more road wins with keeping the home success going.
For me, it's all about, and Lee and I talked about this a little bit the other day. Um, when the plays break down and they're not on schedule, and I think there's been a lot of emphasis on just letting Demond kind of find a way to make a play. Well, he was a first-year starter last year. Didn't always have all the answers to the test. The coaching staff really needed to, hopefully this offseason, come up with better answers when the first read wasn't there, second read wasn't there. And we're breaking in a lot of new receivers that are kind of young, and it's really going to be important that the offensive line holds up because, I mean, everything's going to have to go right this year to go where they want to go. So just having the answers to the test ahead of time, having counters to what the defense is going to do, and just continuing to maintain the defensive excellence of, what we've seen over the last year or two, and just being able to kind of win those games that we haven't won on the road.
Yeah, it has to be like the next step, right? You all the demand stuff that everybody's talked about ad nauseum, the stuff that the points that the national media is going to talk about is around that. But the reality is, from what Jed has said on every podcast he's gone on, what he said in every press conference is that's behind him. They're treating it like the NFL in a way where there was kind of a holdout, and he's back in camp and he's back in charge, and he's taken a lot of steps going into his second full year as the starter. So like it's got to be better because there's a lot of really, and we'll get into this in the next couple of weeks, but there's some really, really strong position groups. But there's also some question marks, and a lot of it's going to be around Damon and the skill position players that are around him. Those are the guys that are going to need to make that step. And it's going to be one of those things where they got two really tough games at Husky Stadium, and they got to go win on the road. And if they are able to do that a few times, we're talking at the end of the year that Oregon game could be a win and in to the playoff.
Jake?
Are we all under the same impression that this is Damon's last year as the starting quarterback at Washington? Whether it be transfer portal next year or NFL?
I don't think so.
That's my mindset going into this
I would
year.
agree with you, Jake.
I think there's a lot to be decided in the season.
Yeah.
And, job one for Demond is winning the trust back of all the people who pay to see the games. I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't really happy with him yet. And until they start performing and until they win some games that they probably wouldn't have won the last couple of years, people are going to be looking for something. They're going to be looking for something wrong. So depending on the season he has this year, he either, is welcomed back with open arms and they make a really good financial pitch to keep him, or it doesn't quite work out the way he wanted to, and then he moves on.
Yeah, just building off that, Coach, I think you hit it on the head of just like he may have earned the trust back of the locker room, but the University of Washington isn't what it is without the fans. And I live in Greater Seattle, go watch my kids play sports all the time, and I have met several people who have discontinued their season tickets because of his behavior. And so he has some work to do, and I don't think he's done an adequate job so far with like just the outward media. He has to, if he wins, all is forgiven, but he hasn't done it yet on a level that I think we expect. So we're looking for that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sucked. It's one of those things that like, man, I have weird as a fan, it's weird to say this, but like as long as like the guys in the locker room are down with him, and if he makes the right progression, like we're gonna forget a lot about that. And if we get to next year where there's, another opening in Louisiana or somewhere else, it could be a situation where, he does move on, but there's also a lot of money in Washington to be made, and if they make that step this year, that offense should be pretty good, and you're going to have most of the guys returning. That'd be a tough situation to walk away from if you're the quarterback of a team that, either gets in or is knocking on the door of a playoff. Um, Walking away from that feels a lot like, walking away from a playoff team in Ole Miss as well. So maybe like player like coach there, but I really think that if this team meets the expectations and a couple of guys emerge, especially in the receiver room, that it would be hard to move on, especially if the money's comparable.
I think maybe it feels like the only reason he's back is that he knew he would have lost a court case. So I feel like this is probably his last year, because I think that even though he has this great relationship with Jed, that wasn't even enough to make obviously the announcement on Mia Hammond's Memorial Day. So I just don't think he's going to be here for his fourth year. That's just my opinion on that.
Yeah, and that'll be a conversation when we get there. But like right now, he's the guy, and I'm excited for what I've seen from the little clip so far, and what I've read from the people that are at practice, and I sure hope that I hope he's good enough that he's moving on, I guess, if that's part of it too. But yeah, for this season, I'm not even thinking about that.
A lot of things can happen in a year, and humility is something that, people develop when their character is tested, and, maybe they have a little setback. There's so much time. If anything, I'm worried about, did they do enough to put the pieces around him to be as successful as possible? I'm still not convinced of that. I know they're putting all their resources into the high school recruiting, ranks, which is it's actually turning up really good results right now.
Mm-hmm.
Time will tell.
Yeah. So overall, a pretty good outlook for year 3, and expecting, to everyone's point, kind of consistency, seeing the same team as we do on Mount Lake as we do away from Mount Lake, and not dropping an inexplicable, ridiculous game on the road this year. Maybe that's like hopefully the floor is not doing that.
I think that's a very appropriate floor, is being consistent, like just beat the teams you're supposed to beat, win a couple of games that you're not going to be favored in. My guess is they're not going to be favored in like 3 games. If you can snag one of or 3 games, if you can snag one of those that's on the road, you're sitting really.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to hear what you have as the 3 games that we're not slated to win.
Well, I just don't think you're going to be seeing Washington as the favorite. That's what I said.
Nope, name it. Name them. I need you to name them.
Yeah, USC, Indiana, and Oregon, they won't be favored.
I think that right now ESPN has the Huskies not favored against Penn State, and probably not favored against Nebraska either. So
yeah, I know. Iowa State East is not the one that I'm worried.
Love it. I love it. I love it.
Well,
Trevor with the jokes.
We can get more deeply into these opponents here, obviously, but I would say it's Indiana, Oregon, USC on the road, sure, but we've always played pretty well at the Coliseum. I'm most worried about, believe it or not, Iowa on
Friday night
game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that they're any good. They still got to figure out their quarterback situation, but it's just a team that does everything fundamentally, well, most of the time, just fits.
I kind of think that Washington's like built to kind of beat a team like Iowa, though, right? Like physical on physical. I think Iowa might be a little bit more physical, but I do think that Washington is physical enough to compete with Iowa's physicalness, but if you look at the opposite end of the spectrum, the talent level wise, Washington exudes talent well over Iowa. So I think we're kind of set to kind of walk away from Iowa in Iowa this year.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
If this was on the road, it would be a loss.
Just like it was in year one, right?
Yeah, year one doesn't count. That was such a tough. It's hard to take a lot out of year one, that 2024 season, because of how depleted they were specifically on the lines, and the lines are much better this year. And when we get to Iowa, I have quite a bit to say, but um, Jake's Jake's kind of thinking exactly how I think that game is going to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do we want to go to like things that we're really excited about for Husky football this year? Some really big positives. You want to start with? Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, the offensive line. I'm really stoked on the offensive line. I think it's going to cover up some of the bumps and bruises of losing your top two running backs, your first round wide receiver, second round wide receiver, and not necessarily seeing anybody separated as receiver number two so far in the 5 days of practice that they've had so far. Right now, it looks like Desmond Roebuck and everybody else, and Decker DeGraff's kind of his number two guy right now, but you got to find that next receiver. But that offensive line is going to give you time to figure some stuff out and allow some running backs that maybe don't have the experience or upside of a Jonah Coleman and an Adam Muhammad to find themselves some bigger holes to run through. I think that's, at least offensively, that's the position group I'm most excited about. And the fact that we still have Ryan Walters and we're going to have one of the best defenses in the nation.
Mm-hmm. Coach?
For me, it's the linebacking core. They're young, but they're just absolutely loaded with talent. And I think Zay and just this young core of guys. And we got the returning guys coming back as well. Manu's coming back for his, what is it, seventh year? I think it's a loaded linebacking core. I think the front seven in general is just going to be really, really tough to kind of do damage against in the run game. And I think that the increased athleticism in the linebacking core is going to help in the passing game. We just have to see who shakes loose in the cornerback position. I know that, Robinson's there and Carnley's there. Depth it needs to be figured out. I think the safety position is loaded. That defense is just going to be nasty.
Jakey?
Trevor kind of took half of my answer, but every time. What I am really excited about is I think that Jed understands what it takes to win in Big Ten football, and that's physicality. And as we all know with football, that starts in the trenches. And I think that he's done a really good job of addressing that and getting bigger, stronger, faster people in the trenches. I think since year one, since Jed had been here, he had brought in skill position. He's always had skill position on this team. And I don't think that we're any better or any worse than the day that he showed up here at skill position. But where I see the major beneficiary group is in the trenches, offensive and defensive line. And I think that's going to bode well for this Washington team this year. Like we talked about before, against teams like Iowa, Nebraska, Middle America, teams that really rely on that punishment to beat teams in football.
Yeah, so meat and potatoes is where we've improved. And maybe he's a little bit better at recruiting those big guys than Rick Neuheisel, who didn't do that at all.
Well, we got to bring up Neuheisel.
It's at least a yearly thing.
I did not see a Neuheisel reference coming. Good job.
You guys keep talking about the physicality up front, and I am nervous. I don't know what you guys are talking about. We got a true freshman at left tackle. We're probably going to have Champ move into the right guard spot. This is going to be his first year starting. He got on the field last year. Landon Hatchett hopefully is completely healthy, and he's been able to get stronger and more flexible. Mills at left guard is obviously the highlight there, and then Drew has a party coming back again with mixed results the last couple of years. I think it's gonna be solid. But then also you look at, wow, we don't have Adam Muhammad back, who would have been our absolute number one back the way he played in the second half last year, and he's at Cal. And we've got guys like, we're this rotation of like Lemar and Quade Carr and Brian Bonner and just a mix of guys, and nobody's for sure the guy yet. Like, who is it? Just going to be running back by committee? I know Damon's going to take a lot of that, just his athleticism and the design run, and spread option stuff. But I don't know. And then you look and say, okay, well, they'll just have to balance it out a little bit. And then you look at, we've got one established receiver coming in Roebuck, and then maybe Rashid Williams. He was kind of banged up last year, didn't get to play. And then a bunch of young guys who are all fighting for, air supremacy. And of course, Decker DeGraff is the mainstay in the tight end room. I still think there's still a lot of questions, and I don't know if we're going to be able to just line up and blow people off the ball.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree, Coach. I mean, yeah, Cody's a freshman, but also 5-star kid. So he's got quick feet. He's got strong hands.
He's super talented. He's done nothing in college football
I mean,
yet.
if you look from the left to the center between Cody, yes, he's a freshman, but he's also, I mean, we've started freshmen on our offensive line before that have had success. Trey. And then you look at Mills, and then you look at hopefully a Hatchet that's healthy at center. I think that from the left side to the center is really, really a good, strong, cohesive unit. And then if you look at Drew had gotten exponentially better his second year at Washington.
You use the word exponentially wrong when you're talking about Drew as a party.
I don't. It's a bell curve. It's a bell curve.
He went from a liability to
that's exponentially better. He was a liability to pretty successful. I would say that's exponentially better.
I'm telling you, that's not what exponential means.
So if he grows at the same rate that he did last year, I would say that Drew as a party is not going to be a liability on the right side this year.
I don't think he's a liability.
Is he going to be All-American? I don't think so, but I think he could be successful on that right side, and his size speaks for itself, dude. I'll just push somebody over, man. You're big. You're strong.
We just keep hearing about this really great offensive. Everybody's hyping it up. We got two guys who have never really started a college game, and Champ didn't start. He got in, he got some experience last year. But a true freshman at left tackle, and then you're going against some of these edge players in the Big Ten, it's going to be a baptism by fire. You're going to have to do a lot of helping out on that side in certain games where Oregon, for example, has got first round edge rusher, and I know Ohio State just lost two guys in the top 12 of the draft, but I'm pretty sure they're loaded as well. Indiana's got a really good front, and there's some other guys, and we're going to go through this list, but it is not going to be like this is just like all these other teams are circling our offensive line going, that's one of the best three lines in the conference. I don't think anybody's saying that.
Well, the thing that Washington does have that I like is they have depth at the line as well. You do have Colt Dietrich, who's apparently moving around quite a bit in fall camp, whether it's doing some stuff at center. He's also, he played tackle at Sam Houston, and he was really effective there. Drew as a party has gotten a lot better and could find himself. If he makes the jump that he did from year one to year two, he's a very, very good right tackle.
An exponential jump?
I would say exponential. Now, what I was thinking about, Coach, when you were talking about Adam Muhammad being that clear number one back who should have been here and is instead at a power four in the biggest quotation marks you can have, is I remember just this memory of Jake and I, much younger, no children, talking, debating one off season about the Huskies program. And after Chris Polk left, there was a pretty good debate between Jake and I who was going to end up taking over as the lead back, whether it was going to be who I thought was going to come in and be that guy, and his name was Jesse Callier, and Jake was on it, and that was Bishop Sankey.
Yeah,
and there are guys that are in here that could end up becoming your Bishop's Sankey, if you will, and be a lead back. And he did it early. Miles Gaskin did it early. The question is anybody going to take away those Jaden Lamar snaps? Because, from what you hear right now is he's probably going to end up being the starter at the beginning of the season as somebody who's probably better in pass protection as a senior than a lot of the freshmen. But is Brian Bonner going to be who we thought? And they seem to be gassing up Quade Carr quite a bit as well. Is that the guy that's going to end up being like, the guy that ends up sticking out and becoming that next feature back at Washington? I don't know, but it feels very much like that, where there's a whole bunch of decent players and one of them hopefully makes that big jump. And we're not going to see that until they start playing teams that aren't also wearing the purple and gold.
Losing Jordan Washington and
Huge.
his playability, everybody's going to have to pick up the slack a little bit. And we've got some of the big guys, some of the younger guys who are more of the bigger backs on the roster to see where they fit in. Are they going to be feature backs eventually? Are they going to be depth guys? Are they going to be H-backs in a full house backfield? Like, we don't know what their intentions are yet or their readiness, but there's no clear cut like that's a horse. There's no Joe Coleman, there's no Adam Muhammad, who was just an established guy.
Yeah, definitely question mark in that room because we had a lot of depth there. And even though Jonah wasn't always healthy, Adam was a good stand-in. So to lose him to Cal, a little bit of a thinker. I'm wondering why.
You know what I do like, though, is Brian Bonner, 5'11", 196. He's probably already up to 200 pounds as a freshman. He's a big bruising back. I think that bodes well for a team like this, especially with a quarterback that doesn't have the physicality so much as some quarter. I mean, I know we all remember that hit that DeMond gave. Who was that against Illinois for that first down? But DeMond is more elusive. I don't mind throwing in a kid like Bonner who's built a little bit bigger than all the rest of the running backs.
Brian Bonner is a home run threat. Like, Brian Bonner is the guy that needs to be the special guy, whether it's next year or the year after. He's the dude that we thought, a lot of us thought like, well, he's not going to go to Washington. And I checked in with somebody midway through the year and I just heard his name pop up again. And I was like, I started asking people, I'm like, you hearing any of this Brian Bonner stuff? And like, no, he's gone. And then sure enough, he went to Washington. He was a home run get. He's the kid that we've been looking for the last couple of years. And it's a matter of, when, not if. But he just needs to learn the college game. He needs to learn how to, read his blocks, going a million miles an hour and being able to slow down in the hole and read a college defense. And, high school, it's like you get one crease and then you're gone. And then if you go back and watch his huddle, he did a lot of that. Nobody caught him.
Yeah, so reasons to be a little bit like skeptical about that room, but also like we've got a lot of raw talent, and it's a question of who is going to be that horse that carries the lion's share of those carries. So we will move right into going game by game, and we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to talk about each opponent as it appears on the schedule, and we're also going to rate each game on our nervousness level. 1, not so nervous, 5, pretty nervous. So we will go ahead and start out with something that we've never done before, which is a September Sunday Apple Cup to start the season. Cougs coming up hot. Let's go. Coach, you made a face. Is that because of September or the Cougs or both?
Yes, it's just the whole thing. It just things like, rotten Cougar Gold cheese. Now, are we just doing a rating here, or are we going to preview these guys a little bit?
Oh, a little bit of both. Talk about like preview the game and then also nervousness level.
The big thing for Wazoo is they got a new head coach, Kirby Moore, who everybody in Washington, especially the people over in Prosser, shout out to Prosser, are very familiar with. He was just an offensive coordinator for the last several years. He was at Missouri last year. He was at Fresno State. He's a really smart guy. That Kellen Moore, Kirby Moore, their dad, that coaching tree, pro style offense, and they're really good at like formationing and just kind of killing you with personnel. a lot of 3-by-1 sets. They like to run, heavy sets into the boundary and just screw with your assignments for the defense. On a scale of 1 to 5 on how nervous I am, -3. There's absolutely nothing about this Coug team that is remotely scary at all. They got some good players like Tony Freeman, punt returner. He's pretty great. Jamari Smith, he's a 6'1" corner slash safety. And then Isaac Terrell, not registering on my fear factor at all, but he had 7 sacks last year. And it's going to be a beatdown just like it was last year.
Jakey?
I mean, if we're sticking to the scale of 1 to 5, Coach, I'd probably give it a 1. I don't see Wazoo coming into Seattle.
I did not have Jake's schooling coach on math on the podcast bingo card. I did not have that.
Well, I think everybody knows what -3 means. If you know anything about integers, I mean, 1 was not sufficient. I went to -3 because I'm already putting this as a win. I'm just moving on.
Let's give it a 1. Washington ends up winning by 20 plus.
Very consistent.
Yeah, it's actually, they got a transfer quarterback that Washington had already seen once last year when he played for was it Utah State, Caden Pickett, and they beat him up, and he was great in the FCS, and I'm sure he'll be fine in the Pac-12, but it's just Maximus McCree starts for him on the offensive line. I feel pretty good about what Washington is going to do to that.
That was a big win for them in the portal too. They celebrated that.
Yeah, well, I get it. And it might serve them well in the middle of the pack in the Pac-12, but it's not going to help in Husky Stadium. So I think it's a 1.
It's a 1. So I'm going to say something a little different. I'm going to say 2, only because it is a little bit of a rivalry game. And if you're putting money on the game and it's a 21.5 point spread, I think it's a 2 because you're not sure if the Huskies are going to cover, because we're not sure about the offense. I actually, I don't get nervous about the Cougs, but just this is their Super Bowl. If they lose this game, in many ways their season is already lost. So they're gonna have a healthy team because they haven't played anybody yet, and they're gonna throw everything at the Dogs. So just for that reason, I'm gonna give it a 2. I expect the Huskies to come out and destroy the Cougs. And if Coach is talking about the Cougs punter being one of their best players, I'm really not worried, but I'm still going to give it a 2.
Yeah, I just think in years past it's their Super Bowl, but I think it's real weird. Cougland right now, they're super stoked on Kirby Moore. I think they understand that they're in a rebuild, and I think that they know kind of what's going to happen. And so this is probably one of the more tame seasons of Apple Cup lore, where I think both programs are going into this with some unbiased glasses, that until Kirby Moore figures out and sticks around for more than 2 years how to build that program, it's going to be an uphill battle. And I mean, they'll be able to compete in the Pac-12 right now. You have Boise State and I can't even think of the other team that's San Diego State, Fresno State. Those are teams that they'll be able to, with just the foundation that they have, if they have coaching continuity, that they'll be okay with. But this year it's just not going to happen, and it's not going to happen against a Big Ten team that's in the top 25.
That's true.
That's enough talk.
Okay, moving on to Utah State the next week.
I love Utah State. Not as a team, but 2 of our former Mountain View kids are enrolling there as true freshmen this year, quarterback and a receiver, and they're studs, but they'll probably redshirt this year. So sorry, guys. Bronco Mendenhall, second year at Utah State, which is just weird. He went to Virginia.
Yeah.
The thing with his team is they were so bad on defense last year that they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And you could have given them a whole roll bounty, and they still couldn't. 90th nationally, gave up 440 yards a game. They run this sort of hybrid 3-3-5 or 3-4 defense. They do a lot of blitzing, but they're not super sound on the back end when they are exposed one-on-one. I do not fret about this team. If Jake's going to hold me to 1-5, I'm going to say a soft 1.
Hell yeah, I love soft ones.
Who doesn't?
So does your wife.
Can I go next?
Yeah, Jakey, all you.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a hard 5 just to combat Coach, because I like it when things are hard.
Record saying he's terrified of Utah State.
We got 4 inchers here, and we got a hard 5, and we got a soft 1. This is a podcast of numbers. No, actually, it's a 1. Coach is right. I do, however, think it's ironic that we start the season with 2 Pac-12 games. Does anybody else think that's weird?
That
a little
is pretty
bit.
good.
Yeah. And also,
especially if you ask anybody from Eastern Washington, it's our fault that the conference is what it is now.
But speaking of Eastern Washington, they're going to be the next year.
That's called a segue, Coach.
They're going to be the next Pac-12 team.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's a 1. I think everybody at this. I also made a mistake. Caden Pinnock went to UC Davis, not Utah State. But everybody has them at 2-0 pretty comfortably, correct?
Absolutely. I just want to point out that, Coach called them soft, Bounty soft, which is actually a little bit different than Charmin soft, which we save for Trev's Baby Blues.
I didn't call them Bounty soft. I said they couldn't stop a nosebleed with a roll of Bounty.
Trev is double quilted Bounty soft.
That's true.
It's the colors. It's the colors.
Moving on to game 3, the second game that we're going to be playing against a team in Washington. They might be better than the Cougs. Who knows? Eastern. Game 3.
Next.
Led by head coach Aaron Best, who went to Eastern, played offensive line there, and he has been coaching there under some guys that, I'm familiar with for many years. I found out today when I was digging up stuff on that he was on the Curtis team that we played against in high school, our senior year, which is weird. So he might have tried to block me. I don't know. Tried.
Nice.
No, just kidding. Yeah, they weren't good last year. They're usually a really good program. They're like 5-7. The offense is a little bit better than the defense. They got a preseason All-American at defensive tackle in Isaiah Perez. Jalen Jenkins is an all-conference DB I think it's the Buchanan Award. That's top DB in their division. And they got a couple talented guys. They're running hybrid spread, up tempo. They're going to try to keep you on the field and just kind of do damage. But I mean, if we're not 3-0 at this point, fire jet.
Yeah. There doesn't need to be anything else said about this team.
Here's why it's a 2. Because it's the last game before Big Ten play. My fear is injuries, especially against a team like Eastern Washington, where we should just boat race them. If our guys are in for a little bit too long, what I don't want to see is Demond in for a snap longer than it needs to be. I don't want to see the offensive line in for a snap longer than they need to be. Does
anybody else have Takario Davis diving for an interception against UC Davis playing in their head right now? Which meant nothing, just like this.
No, I have a crappy linebacker running off the sideline to injure.
Oh, yeah,
injure,
that one hurts.
More.
That one hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the fear for me, right? Is a week 3 Eastern Washington player gets a little bit grumpy and decides to take a shot, and it ends up completely derailing a season because of a really bad injury to Devon.
Absolutely. I think that also we've talked about this in seasons past, that what we're really looking for, first and foremost, is obviously 3 notches on the left side of the column, and perhaps more importantly, staying injury-free through the first 3 games, so we can head into Big Ten conference play and be totally healthy. So that one's obviously a 1 for me. Eastern, that's like, we should be able to just put our jerseys on the field and win that game. So moving right along to Minnesota. Our first Big Ten game of the year. We're closing out September. What do we think?
One of the most obnoxious head coaches in the conference, PJ Fleck. row your boat all the way down the street. I don't give a crap. I hate this guy, and he's even more annoying that he shaved all his hair off. I don't know why. Um, I will say they are a pretty decent team. Uh, they had a guy, Drake Lindsay, that took over quarterback last year, and I think he's going to be even better second year. They got a kid named Perry Thompson who's super athletic, super talented wide receiver from Auburn. He didn't have a lot of production there, he had some injuries, but big and fast. Their edge guy, Anthony Smith, is a star. He's 6'6", 285. He's probably a first or second round pick next year. They're always a good fundamental team. And I think everybody over there in Minnesota is wondering, like, okay, you guys are a solid 8 to 9 win team on a regular basis. Are you ever going to take the next step? And Fleck's been there for like 10 years. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, but they've just never taken the next step.
This is year 10, you're right.
So, I think they're a dangerous team. To start off your conference play with not a patsy. It's not Northwestern. It's not Purdue. It's a really solid team. And if you don't come out ready to go, they're probably going to get up on you a little bit and make you sweat it out.
Yeah, they're like a really good like tier 3 team, right? They're always going to be apparently under PJ Fleck. They're just going to be bowl eligible every year, right? They do have a quarterback. They do have the edge rusher.
They got a big offensive line too. That's pretty veteran.
Sure. They lots of question marks around the running game. Their talent, Washington is much more talented than them. It's in Husky Stadium. It's going to be a beautiful day. I don't see how. I think Washington rolls. I put my nervous level in this one at like a solid, like a 2.5. Like,
I forgot mine's a 3. I'm like right in the middle there, 2.5, 3.
Yeah.
I'm more afraid of the amount of sayings that they have with that school than I am at that team. Coach alluded to row the boat. They have Sky Ma. They got RTB. They chant Skull, which none of them have anything to do with Gophers, which I don't understand.
Because it doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, that's a weird little chant.
It doesn't project well.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
Don't you know?
Yeah. I think Washington probably gets out of that one with a pretty solid victory.
What's your nervous rating, Jakey?
Like a 2.
Okay. I'm kind of in the coach camp. I marked it down as a 3. I think we haven't played Minnesota yet. It's one that I think might be maybe the only team we haven't played yet in Big Ten play. So
I don't think we've played Nebraska yet, have we?
no, we haven't. You're right. So Minnesota, get them at home. We tend to play better at home. I'm not if this were a road game, I'd probably put it as a 4 because this would be a game that I think historically Jed probably loses. But I think we should win by more than a touchdown in this game. I think late we pull away, it might be a 10-point game, but I'm still gonna rate my nervousness at a level 3. So, okay, we are gonna head down south to the Montlake, California, the University of Spoiled Children, aka USC, where I don't think we've lost a game in the Coliseum since 2015. I want to say.
No, we won in 2015.
Okay,
it's been a good run.
It's been a good run. What do we think? We're facing the guy who really likes to overcook steaks. So,
and make excuses.
Make excuses. And then, their athletic director, I hear she's really good.
Yeah.
She's amazing, especially her wardrobe. Not that matters. We shouldn't talk about a female athletic director's wardrobe. We're not going to talk about Troy Dannon. So let's just save that for later. Obviously Lincoln Riley is an offensive genius, running that. I'm being serious. They led the conference in total offense last year in yards. They were 3rd or 4th in actual scoring. They had some hiccups, but they're really talented always. They have to replace two stars at wide receiver who went really early in the draft last year. Jaden.
He's at a 3.5.
He's at a 3.5. So that
JT? Oh, go ahead, Trev.
I'm curious if before he gets back, what do you think? Is he going to say it's a W, or do you think he's going to say it's an L?
It's a W for him. What do you think,
Go ahead,
JT?
I mean, I put this at a 4. Sounds like me and Trev are gonna be there this week cheering on the dogs. I mean, their offense in SoCal with the warm weather just scares me a little bit. I mean, I love our defense. Don't get me wrong. We have had a lot of success there. I have a hard time putting it as a win. Coach, what do you have it as?
I don't know how much you guys heard before I got booted out of the studio.
3.5.
3.5.
You got a win or a loss?
I feel optimistic about a win, but it's not. It's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I just because we're going, I'm going to pick it as a win because I hate taking road trips for losses. We've done that too many times. We are on a heater lately, though, so we're going to ride this wave. I'm going to put it at a 4, though.
It's definitely a 4. It's if not a 4.5, because I think that the things that Washington does well on defense, USC, and the things that maybe Washington is going to be and this is week 5, so they got some time to figure some stuff out. But I don't know what the pass rush is going to look like. I don't know what the corner cohesion specifically is going to look like as well. We got the transfer, and you got Dylan Robinson, who should take the next step to be really like a shutdown corner this year. But still, this is USC. They always have a good passing attack. Maivea is very good. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. That really feels like a strength on weakness there. Getting Gary Patterson's great. USC is always going to be a tad overrated. The talent is there. Where's the development? Is Gary Patterson finally going to do it? Alex Grinch didn't. I don't know if. I don't know. I don't know if you can have, like, when I think about USC and the really good time, the Pete Carroll years, they were great on offense. They had Reggie Bush. They had all the quarterbacks, but it was a defensive-minded head coach that really put a lot of time and effort into the defense. And we can definitively say that Lincoln Riley has not. And he's, in a way, he has delegated it, which I think a good leader does, but it has not worked out. And if you're not going to put your time and effort into that defense, I don't know how good it's going to be. But they have a lot of talent. So, but Jake and I are going, and of course that is the great equalizer, and so I'm going to put it as a W as well. But it's going to be close.
What's your nervousness rating, Trev?
4.5.
Okay.
Look,
Jakey?
USC just learned how to tackle last year for the
that's
first
what I'm
time
saying,
since
right?
Pete Carroll left. So
I agree.
I don't
think you can underestimate the fact that Lincoln Riley knows that defenses let him down time after time. Even when he had Caleb Williams, even when he had Kyler Murray, even when he had, what's his name, Jalen Hurts. It's always been the defense letting him down no matter where he's been. You don't go out and get Gary Patterson and pay him all that money to not let him put his fingerprint on the defense.
But I don't think he's been put. I think he's allowed every defensive coordinator to do it. I don't think that he focuses a lot of his time on the defense.
Yeah,
I think that he's an offensive coach.
If you want to win
And-
a national championship, you kind of need to.
I would agree, but if you keep outsourcing to defensive guys, like, the hope there is that it happens, and it hasn't yet. is Gary Patterson the one that's going to do it? Like, I mean, he's a big name.
Yeah, he's got to get time in practice with his guys, right?
Right. Are they going to develop the way that he wants, or the guys that he wants is going to work in a scheme? Probably. I mean, Gary Patterson was a really good coach at a place that, but at the same time, like, how disrespectful is it that they replaced him with Sonny Dykes afterwards? So, I mean, I don't know where to go with that other than I wanted to take a Sonny Dykes shot, but go ahead, Jake.
2 numbers real quick from you guys. What are the 2 teams' rankings when they enter this week?
Ooh,
real quick.
Great question. I think it's probably 13 for Washington is my guess, ish, and 10 for SC. What do y'all think?
That was about where I had it. I had it about 13, 11, 13, 10, 9, somewhere in there.
I think they're going to be pretty close. I know that some of those teams right around them are going to have some matchups, especially like some of the SEC teams that are right around. But I don't know how many teams are going to have losses that are in that top. I mean, Washington's ranked basically anywhere from 16 to 20. So, like, I don't see them moving up farther than 13 or 14.
No, especially with the 3 games that they play prior, right?
Yeah.
Listen, after the Minnesota win to go 4-0, we will drop out of the top 25.
Absolutely. Well, I'll round us out and
for
say
like a 2-1 like Arkansas.
yes. Well, you can't compete with the SEC scheduling.
That's
Trevor.
right.
They have the top, whatever, however many teams are in their league right now. They have all of the top scheduling.
Right.
For USC, for me, I'm looking at it a little bit differently. That this is the first version of road that this team has seen. This particular 2026 team has seen on the road after 4 straight weeks of home games, friendly confines. And yes, we have a lot of guys on the team from Southern California. They're going to play out. They're going to show out because they're going to be in front of their home fans. I have worries about, will it travel? This is the first one. And if I'm also looking systematically at the next week on a Friday game, I don't think we beat USC and Iowa. And I'm worried about USC, even though I shouldn't be, because of all the things that you said. Like, they're always going to be talented, and they're very rarely does their coaching match their talent level. If we lose, it'll be close. If we win, it'll be close. And it's just going to come down to who wants it more and who coaches the best in the big moments. And I don't want to lose to Lincoln Riley for that reason, because I want to see a UW Animal video smearing USC. I really want to look forward to that. But I think, unfortunately, I have this one as a loss. But my worry level is 5.
I don't want the game on the line and a short-sighted option to be called. That's what I want.
That was triggering, Jake.
Sorry. But even with them on, like, let's go far side. I'm cool with that. Give the kid some space.
Let him do a spin move.
Just don't run that play.
No. No. Okay, let's move on to
It's a gotta have it play.
the Iowa game Friday night at home the following week. Hosting the Hawkeyes. What do we think?
Well, a relative newcomer as a head coach, Kirk Ferentz, like 27 years, 28 years now at Iowa. I just hope he's had enough time to install his system. The really interesting part about this is the quarterback battle, and Gronowski, he came from South Dakota State, I think, and he was kind of up and down, but he was like the clear starter. They got a couple younger guys who are, trying to push him, but that offensive line will be good. Run game will be good. They might be a tiny bit more dynamic at wide receiver, but it's not going to matter. The defense is still going to be good. They pulled in a bunch of transfers in the secondary, and they've got a pretty good, his name is escaping me. They've got a pretty good hybrid guy who's a nickel, who's a corner, who's a safety. They'll be good. They'll be solid. But that quarterback issue in Husky Stadium is going to be real. They're going to have to keep the ball on the ground, and if we stop the run, we're going to beat them. My worry level on a Friday night when everything can happen is like a 2.5.
Okay.
Dang.
Yeah. I actually agree with Coach on this one. I have mine right at a 2.5, and the reason is because Iowa's going to be coming off of an absolute bloodbath that Ohio State's going to give them in week 3. They're going to be a short week, same as us, but they have to travel after getting absolutely stomped out by Ohio State, and then come to Husky Stadium and play in one of the louder stadiums in the Big Ten. And I think they're just going to be defeated. I think their balloon's going to get popped, and I think that we're probably going to end up rolling over Iowa by the time that the game's over.
Man, Husky Stadium Friday night when it gets dark and it's packed there's not many places that are cooler than that. And I tend to agree with you. I think it's Washington's strength that they were a really good run defense last year, and they should be even better this year. And when you have an offensive playbook that's as limited as Iowa, it's going to come down to, can Demond make a couple of plays to get outside and get into the end zone once or twice? If we can do that, this game is it's going to be one of those. It's not going to be like a beautiful game, because Iowa doesn't ever play beautiful games. And I think like I'd put the over under at like 24.
Oh my God.
But I think that Washington ends. Is that too high for you, Coach?
I think we can do better than that.
I legitimately don't know if Washington's strength is their run defense, how is Iowa going to move the?
I think we'll be able to score.
Okay. So 24-0. 24-3, 21-3. Anyhow, I'd put it at a 3, because they still are so fundamentally sound.
Huh.
By the way, you said the over-under, not the spread.
He said the over-under as 24.
That's what's giving me pause. Like, you think just 24 points?
I'm just saying combined.
Yeah,
right?
I think Trevor's basically saying that Iowa's not going to score at all.
Which I think combined. I mean, I could see like a 15 to 10 game or something like that, right?
17-7.
Yeah. So either way, like the fact is I think that Washington wins. I have it at a 3 because they are so fundamental, and if we do make mistakes, they will make us pay for them. But also, we're year 3 of Jed Fish. This is when those silly mistakes should start going away. We saw what happened in Arizona in year 3. Like, he has his guys. They've developed some really good players. This should be a win at home.
I would agree. I have it as a 4 just because of the Kirk Ferentz factor. He's a good coach. His team doesn't make a lot of silly mistakes. But I've been listening to you guys, and I'm feeling a little bit more hyped up about it. And I also am thinking about the fact that in the Jed Fish era, we have only lost at home to teams that have made the college football playoff. And Iowa is not going to make the college football playoff. I think the Huskies should win by 7-10, which will feel like a blowout, especially if Iowa can't move the ball because our defense is so stout. So I'm counting this as a win, as I think everybody else is. And when the next week we go on the road, another Friday game, we're going to go to West Lafayette, Indiana, and play the Boilermakers of Purdue. This should be no big deal because we have a lot of history of beating teams that are trash on the road, right?
There better not be a monsoon.
Damn. I totally forgot.
The only way that Purdue has a chance, this is the only thing I'm going to say. The only way Purdue has a chance at winning this game is if Drew Brees comes out of retirement, takes his name out of the Hall of Fame, puts a helmet on. He's still a better quarterback than what they have, and plays, and that's going to be the only chance that they have to win. Washington's going to absolutely blow them out. And, honestly, like me and Trev, we talk about bucket list stadiums that we want to go to and places that we want to go to throughout the rest of our lives. West Lafayette's not one. It's a terrible place. I've been there. I'm good. I don't ever want to go.
Coach?
So the fun part about these guys is last year they might have been the worst offense in the country when you consider all factors. 127th nationally. But the good news is the defense was terrible. They only averaged 14.5 points a game, and they gave up 32 a game. That, by my calculations, signals a 2-10 team. Here's a fun fact, a real fun fact. In the last 2 years, they've gone 3-21. Those 3 wins, only one of them was an FBS school, and that was Ball State. Yeah, also hard.
Can I
So,
go? Can I
yeah,
use? Can I
I'm
use
gonna say,
coaches?
hold on, I gotta give my rating.
All right.
Half.
Yeah. I'll give you
One,
that one, Coach. I'll give you a 1.5 or a half.
no,
A
a
half.
half.
I'll give you that one.
0.50.
Yep, I'm good with. I'm for it.
I was gonna go with coaches original, and I'd go -3 on this one.
I was looking at their schedule. I think that they might have 2 wins this year. It's Indiana State, and then it's maybe Maryland, maybe. So it's gonna be bad.
I like Malik Washington though. Like I don't know. I see
Barry
a win.
Odom, I think Barry Odom needs to update his resume.
I'm going to shock you guys, and I'm going to say this one makes me nervous because of what happened in Madison last year. I'm giving this a 3 until we win every game on our schedule that we should. This one's going to be a 3 until it's not. I still expect the Huskies to win, but it's just my nervousness about this because of what happened in Madison.
Only thing about the difference that I see in that is Wisconsin had some really good players on defense
They
and
did.
made it really hard for people to
And it
score.
was snowing.
Yeah, nasty weather. Yeah. I just don't see it from Purdue. I think they're going to be rolled over and dead by that point in the season.
If you put an aging Drew Brees on this team, do you feel good about it?
I think they
Asian Drew Brees.
Aging.
Listen, prime college Drew Brees couldn't beat Washington. He couldn't do it now. Purdue, more like don't.
Don't
Don't play. Just don't play.
There it is.
But I think an Asian Drew Brees does carry them to 2 wins. Yes, Trev.
Aging.
Listen, Trev, I mean, first podcast of the year, you're going to get a lot of nasty letters.
Out of the 2 of us, I didn't think Trev would get canceled first.
I can't let you do this. Okay?
Age.
I thought for sure I was going to be the
not
one
going
to
to
get
be
canceled,
aging well on social media, Trevor.
I am dead. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the following week after Purdue, after we have 2 straight Friday night games, one of them on the road, bye week, and then at Nebraska, at Lincoln. What do we think?
I got to tell you, I'm a big fan of Matt Rule. And the thing that I'm most impressed with is that he's managed to steal so many millions of dollars from so many. Like, I want to get in on whatever he's selling. The Carolina Panthers had to learn the hard way. So the thing about Nebraska, though, is that they lost Dylan Raiola, and they probably got a lot better. And this is like, the Nebraska fans have been talking about how young they've been the last several years. And this is the first time they're a veteran team. 18 of 22 projected starters are upperclassmen, which is insane for them because they've been playing a lot of true freshmen last couple of years. Notes here. TJ Lateef, UCLA, UNLV transfer quarterback. JT. I'm gonna get this right. TJ Lateef or the UNLV transfer Anthony Calandria are going to be stepping in at quarterback. They got a new DC, Rob Ontrich from San Diego State, who did a really good job there. They're a veteran team. They got a couple guys from UCLA like Quasi Gilmer and Anthony Jones, the edge rusher, who's pretty dang good. I was kind of hoping
former Washington commit.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping we'd still have him. The thing is, they're a veteran team. They're at home. It's Nebraska. Stands are going to be packed. It's probably going to be a little chilly. I got this as a 4. This is a very nerve-wracking game for me.
I'm gonna go one up on you, Coach. I'm gonna take it as a 5. I have Washington at 8-0 right now, winning some road games. Our big fear about Jed Coach teams that on the road are road losses. Nebraska in week 7 goes to Oregon and they lose for their first loss of the season, and then they have a bye week, and then Washington comes to Nebraska. They're going to be prepared, they're going to be rested, they're going to be healthy, and I think that it's a 5, and I think that we're going to lose this game on Halloween.
Coming off a bye week on the same.
We're both coming off a bye week. Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they're at home.
They're at home. I'm going to dip back into the 2025 Wisconsin game. That was also coming off of a bye, and that did not go well either. So I guess I'm going to go Leah's route here until we show that we can come off a bye week and win. This one feels bad. That stadium is going to be full of college kids and bad dads who skipped out on trick-or-treating. And that's going to be...
We contemplated it.
I said it's going to be full of bad dads, not ones that thought about it. So,
my God.
Underrated good culture at that stadium too.
Yeah, it's a place like I think this would be the trip if it wasn't on, Halloween. So it does make me nervous, but at the same time, like, it feels real. They're going to lose a game. It's probably going to be a road game like this, like going to the Midwest. If they go win this game and they're sitting at, that would be 9-0 at that point. They have exercised every demon that has haunted them in the 2 years under Jed Fish. So I guess I also have it at like a 4 or a 5, and this one for right now is going to be a loss.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on that and say I agree with you. I'm at a 4 for this. Nebraska I think their fans have sold out every single football game for like
40
20
years.
Yeah, a long time. So it's going to be a sea of red. They have really passionate.
Sea of red not hugging their kids.
Sea of red not hugging their kids, but they have nothing else happening in Lincoln, Nebraska, and this is their pro team. In every sport, they do it for volleyball, they do it for basketball teams, they do it for football. So,
which is objectively cool.
It's awesome.
It's also objectively false, though, too. I mean, the farmers, the multi-million-dollar farmers, are buying up the tickets that aren't being sold. So I think it's a little bit of a fabricated,
interesting
fact, but
I'll give it. Got to be a lot of young kids in the stands. They're going to be dressed up as their favorite corn cobs.
Listen, kid, your candy's a
barnyard
W
animals for Halloween. It's just going to be a great time, family event.
Trevor's going to go to Halloween as Asian Matt Rule this year.
Oh, goodness.
The jokes write themselves. But yeah, anyway, I have this one.
Aging Matt Rule.
Guys, contribute to the Patreon so we can get sensitivity training for our...
I have this one as probably a loss by more than 10, unfortunately. Until we win and prove that we can win in a tough place to play, even if Nebraska is like mediocre, which I think they're a little bit better than mediocre because of probably Trevor's Halloween costume, which is Asian Matt Rule. It's probably going to be a loss. So I have Trevor, you're at 7-1, Jake 7-1. I'm at 6-2. Coach, are you at 7-1?
Probably.
All right, so we're moving on, and we're coming home after the road trip to Lincoln. We're going to host the Nittany Lions of Penn State.
I'm heartbroken because my favorite piñata is no longer coaching.
Oh, yes, I actually, in memoriam, there's no longer James Franklin there, and gosh, Coach was circling this game because of just the jokes. Pure jokes.
We got to get Virginia Tech on the schedule next year.
We really do.
Like it's really heartbreaking. So Matt Campbell, the guy I absolutely didn't want a few years back when we hired Kalen, he's a good coach. He does nothing special, but he took with him 24 transfers from Iowa State.
Yes, he
and
did.
Rocco Becht is by far the most compelling. They're finally
Did they go to the Big 12 championship?
Say it again?
Did they go to the Big 12 championship?
Yeah, they just they lost. Every time he took them to the Big 12 championship, they lost over there.
Yeah.
But Rocco Beck is a serious upgrade from Drew Aller and the way he played the last several years. I know Drew Aller's in the NFL right now, but that's all potential. The thing that's a little bit confusing about Penn State is just like the lack of depth on the offensive line right now. They're going to be super young, and the tackles. They've got a redshirt freshman tackle who's really good, but they're super young and super thin to tackle. So if they have any injuries, it's going to be interesting. Losing the two-headed running back room from last year, they're still going to have a lot of talent, kind of spread all over the place, and I think they're going to be a very solid team. So my fear at this point in the season, everybody's beat up, having to contain. If our defense is healthy, I feel pretty good about it. But they're going to run the ball on us, and Rocco Beck is a very productive quarterback who gets in the end zone. So I would say 3.5 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
They were 5-4 in the Big 12 last year. You're bringing a Big 12 roster to play in the Big 10. It's not that not everybody followed Franklin to Virginia Tech or went elsewhere, so it's not that they don't have talent there anymore. But if you're bringing 25 players, that tells me that a lot of them are going to play. Like we were basically Arizona North after that first year, so. And they have it. Their schedule is gonna look. They're gonna look good on paper because they have a lot of They have a lot of winnable games on their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an 8-4 team in the Big 12. It's at Husky Stadium. Washington will be pissed because, according to us, they just went out and lost. So I think this is a get right game, and I think this kind of puts to bed the fact that maybe at least in year one, Penn State's a little bit of a paper tiger.
But Signetti brought a bunch of kids from JMU, and it's
who won a Sun Belt championship.
I don't think that
an
Matt Campbell
8-4 Big 12
Signetti.
team. I'm not afraid of.
I say he brought for the most part, the right guys, but he got the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing is that after Washington loses to Nebraska, their back's going to be up against the wall if they have playoff aspirations. I mean, can we all agree that Penn State is a tier 1 Big 10 team historically? I would say yes. Is this our first chance to have a tier 1 victory for Jed Fish's tenure at Washington?
It won't be his first chance, but it could be the one that he get his first win.
Yeah, his first tier 1 win.
Yes.
So I mean, I think Washington is going to come out on fire. I don't believe in Matt Campbell. What I don't believe in is, I do believe you, Coach, when it's late in the season, attrition starts coming into play here, health, people get injured. First-year head coaches don't historically have a super deep roster. He might have talent on the starting 11, but as guys start to get hurt, the weaknesses really start to show for first-year head coaches and new programs. And I think that's where Penn State's going to be at this point in their season. And I think this is where you start to see Penn State start to dwindle off at the end. They are going to be a bowl team, but I don't think that they're going to be anything better than a Sun Bowl team. I think Washington wins this one in a close game, but I do think that they win this one. My worry rating's like a 3, and I think they win this game by like.
They'll be bowl eligible when they play Washington. They'll have 6 wins. They'll beat Marshall, Temple, Buffalo, Wisconsin, Northwestern, and Purdue. They'll be 6-2.
I think that's a great point, Trev, and that's a really soft schedule to come across the country and facing the Dogs. It's a November game, cold weather. Obviously, they're used to that in Happy Valley, but I really think that my worry level's at a 3. I think year one, November, traveling 3,000 miles does not spell victory for Penn State. So I have the Huskies winning by between 7 and 12.
If the plane doesn't turn into catch on fire and burn, they're going to be at least a 7-win team. if not an 8-win team.
This will be the game that knocks
a
them
weak
out of
schedule
playoff
for Penn
contention,
State.
right? This will be their third loss. USC, Michigan, and then us.
And then they have Minnesota, Rutgers,
And Michigan's
and Maryland
not really all that good either
No,
this
they're
year.
not.
So they
weren't good last year, and we still.
Yeah, I know. All right.
I'm just happy that after this 8th win on the season, we can finally get back in the top 25, maybe settle in like a nice round 22, 23, and then just kind of go from there. I mean,
Absolutely. Hopefully be back in the top 25 and then head to East Lansing, Michigan to take on the Spartans.
I love this game. And first of all, a few years ago, in 23, I got to go and to Michigan State when
fun.
we blew them out at halftime, and all the very nice Michigan State fans were leaving. And me and Pie God were sitting up in the stands watching them all leave. And they're like, we're going to go drink now. You guys have a very good team.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks is carving them up. Pat Fitzgerald has risen from the dead.
Wild, right?
Yeah. I thought, after the scandal at his alma mater, I just didn't think it was going to happen. They were 4-8 last year. They were really terrible. A lot of injuries. Everything went wrong for them last year. Not only do they have a new head coach, they have a familiar name and offensive coordinator, Nick Sheridan. He gets another shot to run an offense. A guy with a last name I don't know how to pronounce is taking over for Aiden Childs. And I think Childs actually went to Northwestern, now that I'm thinking about it. So they're rebuilding. They're not super good. They're not super scary at all. If we go on the road and lose to Michigan State, I will lose my shit. Fear factor of 1.
The thing is Michigan State's schedule is the polar opposite of who did we just talk about?
Nebraska. Oh yeah, Penn State. Penn State.
Yeah, they have Notre Dame, they have Nebraska, they have Illinois, they have Michigan, they have UCLA, they have us, they have Oregon, and that's an absolutely brutal schedule.
Yeah.
When they play us, they'll be in the middle of a 3-game stretch of Michigan, Washington, and Oregon.
Oh my God.
I think that they're probably trying to plan to win one of those games, probably behind closed doors. And the one that I think that they're going to try to go after is the Michigan game, because it's their in-state rival and they want to win a game like that. So they're going to put all of their cookies in that basket and they're going to try to win that game. And when they don't, they're going to be defeated. And then Washington's going to come into town and absolutely blow the doors off of them.
Mm-hmm.
I have this as a 1 on my worry scale. And I think we end up winning this game by like 21.
The only thing that makes me nervous is it's going to be late in the season. It could be bad weather, but the reality is both teams have to play in that bad weather, and that team isn't very good. And they don't have the defense that Wisconsin has. So I'm looking at their schedule. If they get to 5-7, that's a huge W for this program.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're going to surpass their win total for.
I don't think they will either.
I kind of hope for a bad weather game, because if you put long spikes on DeMond and let him go, Michigan State can't tackle him. They're going to be all over the field. If DeMond cuts, they're just going to keep going.
Dude, at that point, how much do they really want to be out there either?
Right.
They just went on a fat losing streak. They lost to Big Brother. That's a tough time to be a Spartan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have it as a 2, just because road, November.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, I get it. Wisconsin was more talented, but I echo Coach's sentiment that I will be a very unhappy person, and there'll be a lot of doom texts from me if we lose this game. And there'll probably be a spaces to vent about a loss, if that is a loss, because that will feel like, do we have the right guy here if we lose to the Spartans? I think that the Huskies should win by whatever the spread is, but I'm hoping that it's about 20-ish.
On a scale of 1 to 5, how hot is Jed's seat if we lose to Sparty?
4.
Probably not.
3, 2. I still think a bad loss on a road like that, they'll say it's a trap game because of what's coming up next.
Let's say we have 3 losses already, and then we go into Michigan State and lose.
Oh.
So we'd be
Tarmac,
Yeah, we'd be looking at a 6-6 season, and
We
that's the case because vibes would be low.
we lose to USC, we lose to
Iowa.
Nebraska. I was thinking Nebraska and Penn
Oh,
State,
yeah.
or Iowa,
Either
whatever.
way, if we're
You
6-6, I think the heat the hot's pretty the seat's pretty hot going into next season.
I would just hope that Jed wouldn't come to the press conference and just say, tough one.
F1.
God. Listen,
That's
listen.
messed up.
We're not gonna think about them right now.
That's football. That's football. Tough one,
Yeah, that's football.
Oh, the Dan Wilson jokes write themselves.
I
Okay,
think
moving.
Jed has a real good chance to be in the top 50 head coaches all time of Washington. So it'd be really tough to fire a guy who's in the top 50.
Oh, jeez.
Jeez. Oh, God. Okay. So now we're coming home for our last game of the home season, and we are welcoming in the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers, the Kurt Signetti, I guess, Google me guys. So what do we think?
They're still going to be a good team, but it's not going to be nearly as efficient offensively. Obviously, you lose the Heisman Trophy winner in Mendoza, who's on the Raiders now, who by this time will have, actually, yeah, around this time he'll have already gotten his head bashed in by the Seahawks in Vegas. Josh Hoover taking over for him, solid player. He can probably run the offense. The offensive line is going to be really good, but the receiving core is not going to be as deep as they were last year. Surratt and those guys, just the law school guys in the NFL. I think I think a lot of their recruiting has been really good, but they're going to be relying on some young depth. Like they don't have the veteran depth chart that they did last year. Defense should be solid, but like I said, if this time of year, if they're missing some bodies and they have like true freshmen stepping up, I think that's where they're vulnerable. Still probably better than us. So I'm going to say 4, even at home. I think it's going to be a tough battle. If we beat Indiana, everybody's going to be on the field after the game. I think it's going
Those
to
are
be
my favorite games.
Hey, those are fun.
That you lose the number 1 overall pick. You are in a situation where it's a RPO run heavy team against a defense at home that has linebackers that can stop the run. If Kurt Signetti is what I think he is, he's going to exploit the matchups that make Indiana offense run. But I mean, we have Ryan Walters, and we have the bodies that can play defense against this team. The question is, does Washington's offense have enough to keep them in it and not allow Indiana to kind of boa constrictor them like they did in 2024? I think, at this point, Washington's a 1-loss team at home late in November. This game's going to be insane. It'll rival a 2023 Oregon kind of atmosphere if Washington is where they could be, because it is a premier program. It's before Thanksgiving. It's the last home game. I think this is one that you could see some really, really fun fireworks. It's a 5. But I'm gonna go say that Washington finds a way to win.
So I have this game at a 5. I think Josh Hoover is a better quarterback than Fernando Mendoza. He had some pretty spectacular numbers last year: 3,500 yards, 29 touchdowns, 13 interceptions for TCU. I think he at Indiana could be even better. I think he's a pretty good quarterback. I think Indiana is going to score more than they did this last year. I think that their defense isn't going to be as good as it was last year. But I have a hard. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I think Kurt Signetti is so good at coaching. I think that his teams do all the little things right, and I think that we end up losing this game in a close one.
Mhm. I agree with everybody here. I mean, like Indiana's got to be a five. Defending national champion, Kurt Signetti can flat out coach no matter what you think about him. I know that a lot of people who in Husky Nation can't stand him because he's pretty arrogant, but you know what? He backs it up and he wins. And he did something last year that will just etch him into the lore of, I think, personally me, but a lot of Husky faithful. He did something that Oregon's been trying to do for 30 years, and he did it in two. And I will always be grateful for that. So, but it's a new team. He got a lot of portal guys. They'll be really ready to go, but they're traveling far away from home in November. Tough place to play. Anything can happen. I don't have this as a win. I think it'll hopefully be a really good game, and if it's a win, we're all on the field, but I think it's a loss. Everybody weigh in. Okay, now we're finishing out the year at Autzen Stadium. Oregon Ducks, probably a top five team at this time, maybe even a top two. But maybe not, because they probably will lose at Ohio State, so who knows. But we're playing the Ducks on the road at Autzen Stadium to finish the year on Thanksgiving weekend. What do we think?
Dante Moore is maybe the best returning quarterback in the country as far as an NFL prospect. I think Maivea might be giving him a run for his money as far as just the best QB in the conference. Loaded roster as usual. A lot of recruiting guys. Ongole at edge is a top 10, top 15 kind of guy. They lost some really important players off that roster last year, but they bring in whatever they need. Being on the road in Autzen, my level is a 5 because it's going to take Jed's best effort, Damon's best effort. It's going to take everybody's best effort to pull off an upset on the road.
It's a 5. This is a super talented Oregon team. But they have areas of uncertainty, if you will, even with all of the returners that they have, and specifically it's around the offensive line. And Dante Moore really struggled with pressure last year. I saw some PFP thing where he was graded pretty low when it comes to people around him. And Washington, while the pass rush is a pretty unknown, we do have some really fast linebackers and some really big linebackers that can do some things around the blitzing. We were able to keep him until he made one play to beat us last year. So, Oregon probably, it's probably not a win and in situation, because I think they lose in Columbus. The other one that I've heard some people talk about is an interesting, scary game would be Michigan at home. I don't think so. So I think they're a one-loss team, and they're really fighting to get into the Big Ten championship. Washington can hold the run game if they can get pressure on him. If Damon doesn't make mistakes, they definitely have a chance to win this game. And I never pick Washington to lose to Oregon, so I guess we finish the season 11-1.
Look,
but it's a 5, and I'm terrified.
Look, don't count out Kyle Whittingham out against Ohio State either. Ryan Day has a serious.
No. The Oregon.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, you're right. But don't count out. Okay,
yeah,
same point. Don't count out Ryan Whittingham against Oregon. He is the defensive guru. He has the ability to stop offenses in their tracks. So maybe Oregon has a second loss this year going into this game. The bummer part about this is that Oregon has a bye week the week before they play us, and that's Michigan State. They're going to be rested. They're going to be ready to play. My nervousness level on this one is a 5. How many losses do I have right now, Leah? 2, 1?
I
One, two.
think you
You have
have
two.
two. I think you have Indiana
Yeah,
and Nebraska.
I think this is going to be the third loss. I hate it. I hate picking that. It's my least favorite pick. Trevor's eyeing me, so stop. That sucks. But I just think Oregon is so talented. This is the most talented Oregon team that's ever been assembled.
The 2023 Oregon team was better.
I don't think so.
They were.
Okay.
That was one of the best teams in the country. They just ran into Washington twice.
Buzzsaw. It's obviously a 5. Oregon's really, really talented on both sides of the ball. But I just Dan Lanning is kind of a goober, and I think he finds a way to do stupid stuff on national TV, which obviously doesn't matter. It's, Thanksgiving game, and it'll be nationally televised. It might even be game day. Probably not, because there's better games that are going to be, because the Huskies aren't going to be in the top 15. But no, I think Oregon's probably going to win. Hopefully they don't cover, because I'm guessing that the spread will be between 15 and 20. But I'm really, really hoping that what Jakey just said about not counting out Kyle Whittingham at Autzen, gosh, I hope you're right about that, Jake. If there's nothing else that you've been right about today, I really hope it's that. But I have us at a loss at Oregon, which puts me at 8-4. Coach, I think you're 9-3. So is Jakey, and Trev, you are 11-1.
Of course
I
he is.
remember having
Of
a
course he is.
yeah, of course he is. I'm proud of myself for not going 12-0. However,
Just that UCLA wasn't on the schedule.
that's right. I remember having a really downcast preview podcast with you guys a few years ago when they headed to Autzen, and they were a fringe top 25 team. Obviously, in my world, they're a top 10 team because they only got the one loss. But I mean, the reality is how my previews are always come with a little bit of a grain of salt there. But I've seen Washington go into Autzen and win. I've actually seen Washington win in Autzen as many times as I've seen Washington lose in Autzen, and that's going to games in that 13-year losing streak. I'm 2-2 at Autzen Stadium, so I feel good. It's always going to be a puncher's chance as Jed continues to grow from nothing, and Dan Lanning was handed a Ferrari. So I'm really excited about the trajectory of this program, given that Jed Fish stays and that he's really building it. And this is the first year where, like, I mean, you guys, this is year 9. I've never picked Oregon to beat Washington, and I won't. But you guys know that the last 2 years, we all knew what was coming. 2024, they had no chance. 2025, they had a shot, but it was a puncher's chance. This one won't shock people if Washington plays the way that they could with this roster that they've put together. It'll be an upset, but it's not going to be the shocker that it was even in 2022, because they had those 2 clunker losses. So, I mean, believe.
Let's go.
It could be game day too. You did mention that. If you look at the schedule, it's kind of rivalry week. Auburn, the Iron Bowl with Auburn and Alabama. I don't think Auburn's very good, so I think Alabama's projected to probably beat the brakes off of them. And then you have the game with Michigan and Ohio State. I don't know if Michigan's going to be all that good this year under Kyle Whittingham. I'd like to think they are, because I want them to beat Oregon. But if Washington football does as good as the majority of us think that they're going to do, and Oregon is where we probably think that they're all going to be, this could very easily be the best game on the slate that entire week. And it could have major playoff ramifications. We're hoping.
Yeah.
Because that's the perfect time for Dan Lanning to shrink, right? I mean,
He loves it.
That's when Dan Lanning decides to pull some BS fake punt that would, like, 4th and 30, and tries to throw it with his punter, or he just pulls a Dan Lanning.
Mm-hmm.
That technically that was Jet against Ohio State last year.
Well, he's gonna pull a page out of his old book for him.
I hope so. From your lips to God's ears, Jakey, I really hope that that's true. And I mean, like, double whammy. I really hope that Michigan goes in and beats Oregon in Autzen. But if that happens, I really don't think the Dogs will win that game because I don't think Oregon's going to want to lose 2 games at Autzen. But it can happen. It could happen. Well, that'll do it for another episode of Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast. Please rate and review 5 stars our podcast on Apple, Spotify, or your preferred platform. Go hit subscribe on our YouTube channel, Fourth and Inches, a Husky podcast -J3X. Go check us out on Patreon and consider supporting our work at $5 a month. We will be back next week to preview the offense, what to get excited about, what to be concerned about, and let's go ahead and place bets on who gets canceled next week.
Trev.
Everybody, please be kind. It's the first show. Trevor's doing the best he can.
I feel more confident about Trev getting canceled than I do about beating Michigan
this
State.
summer, so just cut him a break.
Aging.
If it happens,
Aging.
All right. Until then, for Jake Grant, Trevor Mueller, and Coach V, I am UW. It's year 3. It's the show me year for Coach Fish. Show Husky Nation you can win the easy ones and at least one tough one on the road. Let's get to double-digit wins this year in year 3. Thanks for tuning in, Purple Gang. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.